Greetings. Thank you for investing a few minutes with me in recorded form to explain why TeamLogic IT can be your best partner in outsourcing your organization's managed IT security services. My name is Scott Cooperman, and I'm a pre-sales engineer with well over a quarter of a century of industry experience and acumen. And I can tell you, the wide field of IT security service providers makes selecting a true partner daunting. But today, you'll learn that green is TeamLogic IT's signature color, the color of confidence. I'll explain what's involved in selecting a provider, what's at stake, and why you should consider TeamLogic IT when looking for an IT security service provider as your newest partner.
Is this a picture image of you? If you're like most of the people who watch this video, whether your office has 4 independent walls or cubicles, or is based at home or on the road, you've had your excessive share of frustrations managing information technology. Let's face it, there are few times when the percussive maintenance from your forehead to your keyboard makes any sense. Most people we speak with just want their computers and technology devices to work without needing an advanced degree in rocket science. Now, business technology takes many forms. To secure and support it, we need to define it. Let's start with the I in IT. Information technology is what everyone uses every day to perform the work in their jobs. Maybe your office has a network rack that looks a little like this one, stashed away in a closet or back area. This is where your internet service comes into your office. Some companies have small equipment, others have large racks like this. Maybe your business has 1 or more servers that store files or run certain programs, or desktop or laptop computers, or tablets like iPads or Windows 2-in-1s. And who doesn't have a smartphone and use it every single day? Printers and multifunctional devices are still used by all to scan, print, copy, or even fax. And while some businesses and government agencies require large format systems for blueprints, maps, and signage. Of course, don't forget about good old telephones. You may or may not be surprised at how far phone systems have come. But information technologies don't stop there. Most manufacturers, warehouses, logistics, and fulfillment companies on the industrial side all utilize operational technologies. These take the form of all of the computer-controlled conveyors, motors, sensors, robotics, and other mechanical systems that are equally, if not more, susceptible to cyber attacks or extended maintenance requirements. In fact, manufacturers and warehouses aren't the only users of operational technologies. Have you heard of the Internet of Things? IoT devices are part of operational technology and take the form of automatic door controls for ADA compliance or parking garage systems. They're in the smart energy monitors being promoted by your utility company to help save energy and automate meter reads for more accurate and timely billing. They're part of the automated lawn maintenance system for your building that senses time, temperature, and moisture to make sure the sprinklers don't turn on when it's raining. Yep, you guessed it. Those automated systems are all computerized and connected to the Internet of Things, and all are highly susceptible to providing an open door to hackers and cyber criminals. All of these devices use a tiny little component that looks like this. A hacker can change one number on one line of code to make motors turn at 10 times their normal speed, sensors to misinterpret signals, doors to open or close when they're not supposed to, electrical components to overload and cause fires, or to open the door wide on your entire network. Believe it or not, the largest casino heist in history occurred through an internet-connected thermometer, just like this one. Okay, if we're defining technology as all of the computers, networking equipment, peripherals, and hardware in our lives that are at risk and need to be maintained and matured, then what about software? Of course, software needs to be protected and maintained. Software vendors of any worth invest billions of dollars each year patching, updating, and upgrading their software to keep out bugs, hackers, malware, and more. Now, there are 2 types of software. There's system software, like your computer's or cell phone's operating system, and there's application software, like Microsoft Word, Adobe Acrobat, or Gmail. System software has thousands of little dependency applications that allow your system to work, things like device drivers, system timers, and other utility programs. And each of these micro applications need to be protected and maintained for peak efficiency and security. Nefarious access to these tiny moving parts of your operating system can lead to disastrous consequences. From ransomware to the ubiquitous blue screen of death, data loss to you, your clients, or your vendors can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, cost you your business reputation, or cause you to close your business doors for good. Meanwhile, application software that allows you to do whatever it is that you do on a daily basis must also be constantly updated, patched, fixed, maintained, and upgraded. There's 1,000,001 possible applications out there that don't all play nicely in the sandbox together. And sometimes it takes an expert to get everything turning in the same direction. Now, cybersecurity is more important than ever before. The entire world is now taking cybersecurity seriously. New and existing regulatory laws exist to protect you and others from cybercrime, and the question you must ask is, do I comply? Or if you don't comply today, the question becomes, how can I comply? TeamLogic IT takes a very different approach towards regulatory compliance because technology is only 1/3 of the equation. The other 2/3 are people and processes. This is why we partner with one of the top cyber law attorney practices in the world, as well as one of the most respected cyber insurance brokers in the nation to cover all of the bases. With our help and your due diligence, we can help you reduce your risk, and you might not only reduce your premiums, but improve your chances of full and complete insurance payout in case you need to avail yourself of a claim. This isn't a promise, but this is a reality. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Enough already. All I really want is to start work each day with everything and everyone working as it should. The point of all of this is so that I don't have to deal with all of this, right? Well, the corollary becomes, how do I make sure I'm doing everything right? How do I make sure that I'm securing my business, planning for business continuity in case of failure, complying with the law, ensuring my insurance, all in the best way possible? These are great questions, and there are definitive answers, as you'll see. There are literally only 5 paths that you can choose from. Now, number 1, you can elect to hire a full or part-time employee. Maybe you already employ one or more IT professionals to keep you safe. Maybe you're investigating this route. Either way, the pros are quite simple. They are your employee. They're always on site. They're always visible. But the question you have to ask yourself is whether or not this is really necessary anymore in this day and age. For most small to medium-sized companies, an on-site IT employee only seems necessary because of the state of your IT. If your systems were really working properly as they should and were being proactively protected, an on-site person probably wouldn't be necessary. The second pro under this column is that you may like the person you now employ. Of course, this only matters if you have someone on staff already, but even then, is this a reason to keep somebody employed in such a critical role? The reality is that there are far more cons to consider. IT professionals are hard to hire and hard to fire. There is such a huge pool of under and unqualified people applying for your job postings that it's next to impossible to find a person of value. And once you do find somebody who you think is valuable, once they're hired, even at-will employees take some doing to dismiss if you discover that they're not as great as you once thought they were. W-2 employees are also hugely expensive. Their fully burdened costs are excessive. The average IT support person worth their salt starts at $85,000 per year with benefits, insurance, taxes, etc. The better trained they are, the more experienced they are, the better a job they will do for you, but also the more money they'll cost. So you have to ask yourself if this avenue with hiring an IT employee really makes sense or not. Don't forget that on-staff employees are human beings too. They get sick, they take vacations, and they need time off just like anyone else. The problem with this is that your business continues with or without them, and without them, your IT security and support can suffer. Another good point is that most employees succumb to human nature. Most employees' training and experience stop when they get hired. Think about it. A 40 to 60 hour a week and a salary, and a few people are invested in taking night classes to keep up to date on the latest network technologies or cyber threats. Also, most IT professionals are not cybersecurity professionals, and vice versa. Okay, so you're thinking you'll write a provision into your employment agreement that requires them to take classes. Okay, which classes? Who pays? What if they don't score well? What impact will these have on your operations? These are all crucial items to consider when hiring and managing an on-staff IT security and support employee. Remember, it takes your own time and resources to manage employees. Keep in mind that human nature means that individual employees are primarily focused on keeping their jobs. A far second focus is on maintaining a budget that they're assigned. From there, the safety and the security of your company unfortunately becomes a distant third. Your company's operational status may be of prime importance to you, but an IT employee's daughter's braces come first to them. Finally, there's no guarantee that an internal employee will adapt to your culture. When cultures clash, you find yourself wasting money repeating the firing and hiring process again and again. So, if on-staff employees don't make sense to you after considering all of this, what would be option number 2? Well, here's option 2. What are the pros? Let's face it, there really aren't any. The problem is that the world is filled to the brim with this type of outsourced IT provider. They lack training, experience, commitment, vision, ability, resources, and they lack business acumen. It's very easy to succumb to business arrangements with people like this and firms like these who often promise a low initial price, but then under-deliver on their services if they're able to deliver at all. Which brings us to option 3, who we affectionately call Johnny Ponytails. These individuals and businesses offer a relatively high initial value. On the pros side, they are usually highly persuasive, they're personable, and they're likable. Unfortunately, this doesn't often translate well into efficiency or effectiveness. You might perceive them to be effective through their smile and sweaty brow, hulking over a keyboard into the wee hours of the night fixing a critical problem, but that's no way to maintain a business IT ecosystem like yours. Because of this, we often refer to their excessive support actions by the term individual heroics. And on the side of the cons, it's easy to see the negatives of this kind of relationship. You may notice your friendly Johnny Ponytail talking on his cell phone, advising and supporting another client while he taps away at your keyboard fixing yours. That's a liability in and of itself. You may notice him or her Googling the answer to an IT problem. That's a liability. And eventually they're going to either sell their business or close their doors. Johnny Ponytails have their place in our universe, but you may want to rethink their place in your business IT partnership. Option number 4 we refer to as the militant IT group. This might seem a little misleading, as there are some pretty strong pros to consider. It is true that these firms are for the most part dependable. They mostly offer relatively fixed costs. They're mostly knowledgeable and mostly trained. This is why they are the most well-known option for outsourced IT support. However, let's face it, when you're in the thick of battle with these guys over a support issue, it becomes clear why we call these types militant. They almost always require you to drink their soup, follow their recipe. You either use their hardware and software they suggest, or they won't support you. This could be because it's all they're trained on, which is, in essence, at least honest on their part that they'll only support what they know, or it could be that, as a larger firm, they get preferential deals or pricing that fit their profit model. In any case, why would you want to rip and replace your infrastructure? Especially if that infrastructure still has function and adds value to your operations. Militant companies like these are expensive in many more ways than one because of this. These types of companies often have long contract periods with restrictive policies that make it near impossible to leave their services if you find a better firm or process. Militant companies entangle you for the long haul. They lack transparency in their operations, and they keep everything from passwords to processes close to their vest, claiming that such materials are proprietary, even when you own or pay for them. Militant companies don't offer good business advice. They're silent until you complain. Want to know which software package makes sense to grow horizontally? Silence. Want some advice on whether a particular third-party vendor has solid cybersecurity to protect you if you do business together? Nothing but crickets. Remember, militant IT groups focus on the biggest customers that pay them the most money. At the end of the day, you must conform to their culture and their business model. Otherwise, they consider you a negative client. Which brings us to option number 5. TeamLogic IT has 240 locations across the country ready to support you nationwide. But your local team here in New Jersey constitutes 7 locations with dedicated project managers, senior systems engineers, systems architects, as well as scores of technicians for both help desk and on-site support as needed. We're ranked number 1, first place, out of all managed service providers reviewed last year, and we're on track to repeat that success for 2021. We are extraordinarily easy to hire and easy to fire, with no entanglements. We offer extreme transparency, and we provide you with details of ownership you need to know, like passwords, training, and knowledge. We're the most dependable solution for your business. We never take sick days or time off or vacations. We are a 24/7 operation operating 365 days per year. You can get a live person at 2 a.m. on Christmas morning if you need to. Our training and vendor support is literally second to none. We don't hire experts, we train them. Our rate of attrition is low, so you know who you're dealing with when you call for help and support. We're also the only dual CompTIA Plus certified managed IT security service provider in New Jersey. Our focus is solely on keeping our metrics high to keep our certifications intact. This is why it's of ultimate importance to us to answer your concerns and resolve your issues on the very first call to our support center. This is why we invest as much as we do in our technology stack to proactively keep your business technologies and employees safe and operational. The bottom line is the bottom line. Our culture mirrors yours. We offer the lowest comparative costs over time because we have no hidden fees. Let's face it, TeamLogic IT really is the gold standard of outsourced IT security support. We simply offer the best partnership available. Okay, let's say for a moment that you agree TeamLogic IT can be the right choice for your business. What's next? How can you make sure you're getting the best solution possible at the best price? Well, here again is a brief 4-step process. Number 1 starts with discovery. We start by cataloging and taking stock of all of your technology assets and liabilities, regardless of where they are or who owns them. We must observe and recognize what makes you tick. We need to learn how you operate, not just what you do, but how you do it. And by assigning a weighted scoring system, we can report on the parts of your IT ecosystems that make the most sense to change. We won't change the way you work. We just need to know what enabling technologies need to be replaced, improved, upgraded, modified, or deployed to help you do what you do best with greater ease, greater safety, and greater efficiency. This function is performed with our unique GRC gap assessment. GRC stands for Governance, Risk Mitigation, and Compliance. This 360-degree holistic investigation yields the most thorough discovery results. From here, we develop a key framework of change. We follow the old 80-20 rule and recognize that the greatest mass of a floating object is invisibly beneath the surface of the water. Icebergs sink ships when the hull hits from below. So, what should be prioritized to offer the most significant positive impact to your business? We focus on maintaining compliance while factoring in your what-if questions. And at this point, we can negotiate a proposed solution that makes the most sense. Our quotes become our statement of work. The next phase entails engaging us for our services. We onboard your company as our newest client. We deploy our frameworks and set up your computing and network infrastructure to be monitored and supported in place as they exist today, without major alteration or project improvements. It is at this point that you can start availing yourselves of our help desk. And the final phase of next steps is to continually test and measure our progress, to improve. Let's revisit the individual findings from your GRC gap assessment and start the next project to improve your operations. Take part in our quarterly business reviews to receive and provide feedback on how we can both improve. Here's where the rubber hits the road. Engage TeamLogic IT's SystemWatch services as described on your quote. Formalize our agreements today and plan your onboarding schedule with your personalized project manager. Remember, we're here to help. It's what we do. Thank you. Thank you for investing your time learning about our value proposition, our vision and mission for providing the greatest IT security services for your business needs.